Hello and welcome to your online math course. My name is Mr. Radom. I'll be your math teacher. And in this little video that I put together here, I'm just going to go through some of the things you need to know to get started in your course and have a successful startup. You might have some questions even after you've gone through and watched the video, so feel free to email me at any time if you have any questions. But let's get started and then we'll go through some of the resources that you have available to you and how you can access your help and your learning resources.
So the website that you'll use to access all your resources is www.thssmath.com. And then after you've gone to that website, you'll see one of the tabs here is Online Math. So clicking on Online Math will take you to a page that has a few links here. So there's a couple of online teachers, Mr. Payan and then myself, Mr. Radom. So I'll show you my schedule here. So click on this here. A schedule comes up. I use an online classroom site called Collaborate. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But basically, anytime you'd like for me to help you online, just send me an email, jeff_radom@sd42.ca, and then we'll set up a time where it both works for us to get help. So basically, I'm more or less available 24/7. Send me an email. I might not be able to reply to it right away, especially if you send it at 2 in the morning. Yeah, whenever it works out for both of us to log in, I'll give you a hand. Now, sometimes you might want to get help face-to-face. I normally work out at Thomas Haney Secondary School in Maple Ridge, and I'm down in the Math Grade Hall, which is a general work area for students, high school students. So if you're also a high school student and you can make it to Thomas Haney, then I can help you there. If you're an adult student, I have some face-to-face times, but if you send me an email, I can tell you some of those blocks that I'm able to help you. But if you're a high school student, these are the days and the times. So basically all day on Tuesday, 8:45 till noon, 12:30 to 2:30. Same thing on Wednesdays. And on Thursdays, 8:45 to 10:50, 12:30 to 1:30. Now this will depend on, this is what I'm available this year. But if you're watching this video, make sure you check the schedule because it might be different depending on what year this is that you're watching this video. So that's the schedule. You can email me anytime for online help and then see me in the Great Hall if you want to get face-to-face help. So what does that Collaborate classroom look like? Well, that's right here. So let's say you wanted some help online. You shot me an email. This is where you would go to get help online. Click on my link, not Mr. Payan's. It'll ask you if you have the required software. So if you've already got that, like I do, then I'm just going to click Start the Session. I've got to keep something down here, and I've got to open this meeting up. And it just takes a second here to load. Okay, and this is what the online classroom would look like. So there's me in there, but your name would pop up there too. Down here there's a chat room, so you can type some message like I need help with page 56, number 3. Boom, shows up here so that I know that you need help with that. There's a talk button here. You can click on this, and now you're talking live there. So if you have a headset, we can talk back and forth. Once you're done talking, you need to unclick that because only one person can talk at a time. So we can talk back and forth. You can use the chat window, and then this whiteboard here is for me to help you with your work. So if you're stuck on page 56, I'll be doodling away on the screen here, blah, 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 helping you with page 56, number 3, and you're also hearing me talk. So kind of like being face to face, but that's how we can get help wherever you are on the planet. So that's what we can use to get help with your math stuff. So this link is live all the time, so it wouldn't actually hurt for you to go and click on this link even after you've done watching this video, and just make sure it works. If the link doesn't work for you, then you can click on this one here, configure the collaborate, and this takes you to a support site here. So there's some FAQs, frequently asked questions, and you can actually contact some technical support, and they can help you if you're having any problems with the Blackboard Collaborate. There's another good resource here called Learn Now BC for getting help. There's tutoring and study centers. So there's tutors that can help you online too, practice quizzes, instructional videos. There's some math learning resources and some homework help links. So you can check those out. That you may find that useful. So yeah, basically I can help you anytime online. This is the way that I would do that. Just send me an email when you want to do that, and then I'll respond to you, get back to you. So now you're taking the Math 11 Foundations course. So if you click on this link here, or you can go directly up here and click on Math 11 Foundations. Oh, same thing. It'll take us to some links here that apply to the 11 Foundations course specifically. So there's a formula sheet here, and you can use this formula sheet for any quiz or test that you write in the course. So clicking on this brings up a formula sheet. So you can use this on any test that you write, but these are the only formulas that you'll be allowed to use, so feel free to print that off and use that. Now here, learning guides, this is where all of the assignments are kept. The very first one is just the 11F record sheet, so it just kind of lists the course outline, has all of the topics here, and what the weight of each of the topics are. So Learning Guide 1 and 2 is on inductive and deductive reasoning. 3, 4 is on properties and angles of triangles. And what you'll do is you'll do the work in the Learning Guide, you'll learn this stuff, and then you'll write a little quiz. We'll talk about that in a bit for Learning Guide 1, 2, and you can see it's worth 8.4% of your course. Then you move on to Learning Guide 3, 4, little quiz, worth 8.4% of your course. And then we get to a unit test. This unit test will just be on this unit, and it's an opportunity to improve these quiz marks. So if you don't do super well on these quizzes, and so let's just say the average of these was 70%, but on this unit test you got 85%, then I would make this unit here, all the learning guides from 1 to 5 would be 85%. So this is kind of like a rewrite, if you like, of these quizzes. Then here's unit 2. Same thing, when you write this test, if it's better than these two, then this will be your mark for your entire unit. Otherwise, this mark will just count as 4.2% of your total course mark. The Unit 2 test will just cover Unit 2, so it's not a cumulative test. And there's 20 learning guides in the course. Although Learning Guide 19 is oh, I see that's got 4.2. That should be 0. I need to go fix that. This learning guide is omitted. So you do up to 18, that's your last unit test. And then Learning Guide 20 is a final exam, but that's optional. So if you are not happy with your mark when you get to Learning Guide 18, and you really want to write a final exam to try to improve it, you can do that. Otherwise, the course will be done at Learning Guide 18. I'm not going to give you a 0 for your final. I just average what we have here, and that would be your mark for the course. So that's the marks record sheet, which is kind of like the course outline there. And I'll bring up the first guide here. So this will be your first assignment, Learning Guide 1, 2, and this will be part of your activation assignment. So every learning guide will look like this. There'll be a little introduction. There'll be some learning guide expectations here. So these are the things that you have to know how to do at the end of the learning guide. So you should be able to do these things. You probably won't know how to do them before you start, but you should understand these expectations by the end of the learning guide. This just tells you to look at your marks record sheet to see if it's a unit test basically or not. So learning guide 1 was on forming and analyzing conjectures. So that expectation 1 was on forming and analyzing conjectures. So you can see there's a YouTube video here that you can watch that I've made on conjectures. And then it says in the math text, you're going to read some pages. There's some instructions here. Complete this question, work through these examples, complete your turn. Here's some questions to do. And as you're doing these questions, you should be doing them in your notebook or whatever you're using, and checking your answers in the back of the book as you go along. And then, of course, if you're stuck, make sure you're getting help. So you would work through this now and complete 1 and 2 on 17, so on and so forth. Go through here. There's a spot here in your math journal. In your math journal is really just a set of notes. Now, you may have taken your notes when you watch this video here, and that's fine, but just make sure that at the end of the expectation here that you've got a good set of notes based on these things. Then here's the second expectation. There's a video that goes with that, some questions to practice, and expectation 3, a video with that, and some questions, and of course the journal. And then there's just a little note here on important terms for the learning guide. So these are some things that you should know. And finally, at the end, this is a review challenge. Okay, that's actually what it's called, review challenge. So let's pretend that you did know this stuff already. You could jump down and do some of these questions here. And if you totally knew how to do all these things, then that would be an indication to you that you are totally ready for this learning guide. And then at the end of the guide, there's some practice quizzes. They're hyperlinked here. You can work on those. You do not need to hand in all of these questions. Okay, this is your stuff to practice. So you do, for instance, in learning expectation 1 here, you do as many of these questions as you feel like you need to do. And you're checking your answer in the back. You're not going to hand in your homework to me because the amount of homework you do is going to vary from person to person. If you're a fairly strong student, maybe you don't need to do as many. Or if you find this an easy learning guide, maybe you don't need to do as many. Maybe the next learning guide's hard and you need to do a lot more of the questions. You do as many as you need to do to understand these expectations. So once you feel like you've understood all these expectations, and maybe you've done a few practice quizzes or whatever, then what you would do is you would email me and tell me, hey, I'm ready for the Learning Guide 1-2 quiz. And when you're ready for the 1-2 quiz, Learning Guide 1-2 quiz, we have 3 places or 3 options where we can do this quiz. You can come to Thomas Haney at any time, Monday to Friday from 8:45 till 2:30 to write your quiz, or you can go to Riverside Secondary School. I can send the test over there and you can write it at Riverside. Or if you're a high school student and there's somebody at your high school who is willing to help you, is willing to supervise you doing your test, then you can let me know who that individual is at your home school and I will email them your quiz and you can do it there and they will get it back to me. And if those 3 options don't work, then let me know and we can try to find something that works for you. So that is what you would do, and after you finished Learning Guide 1-2, you would move on to Learning Guide 3-4. And you can see same kind of a layout. Videos, questions to do, journal notes to make, and at the end a review challenge and some practice quizzes. Okay, and then Learning Guide 5, of course, is the unit test, and really it's just a summary of these things. So there's just a few review questions to do here, and some practice unit tests that you can work on. Yeah, so those are the learning guides. Again, you don't hand your homework in for me. It's not worth marks, so to speak. It's just a quiz, a small little quiz on each of these learning guides, and then a unit test that's a little bit longer, and another opportunity to improve your mark. You saw the practice quizzes at the end of the guide. You can click on this link, and here they all are. So there's the 1, 2 practice quizzes, the 3, 4, the 5, so on, all the way down here. And then here's your ebook. So to click on the ebook, it's going to first of all come up with a login and a password. Mine skipped all the way here to the textbook, but I will tell you that your login, oh, that's not what I want. Here, we'll just do this. Your login is going to be THSS, all capitals, and your password is going to be math, all lowercase. Okay, so whenever it asks for a login, capital THSS, if it asks for the password, that's lowercase math. And that'll take you to the textbook, which has all of the sections in the book. So in the learning guide, if we went back here to learning guide, the first one wanted you to work on okay, so page 9. So you were talking section 1.1 here. So in ebook, we would simply open section 1.1. There we go, and here's the PDF of the textbook, and you can go to whatever the page is that you needed to work on. Yeah, so I think that should be enough to get you started. Everything's here, the learning guides, those are all your assignments. Do as many questions as you need to do. There's your textbook to do all your work out of. If you have any questions as you're working through the guide, you're going to email me. We can log into Collaborate, or you can come see me face to face. Once you think you've finished Learning Guide 1, 2, then you would email me and say, I am ready for a quiz. And yeah, so if you have any questions at any time, always send an email. So look forward to working with you, and hope all goes well.